Joining me right now to assess the global threats is Florida Congressman and former Green Beret combat veteran Michael Waltz. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
I want to talk about the chessboard globally in terms of these lines being drawn. But first, give us your assessment of President Biden's trip to the Middle East.
You know, I'd give it mixed, Maria. I'm glad he went to stand with our greatest ally in Israel that the Squad and other progressives call an apartheid state. So at least he took a stand of progressives there. But I was disappointed. He reverts right back to this giveaway of billions of dollars to the Iranian regime, in the hopes that they won't pursue a nuclear weapon. Look, Maria, no one wants any type of military action against Iran. But we have to make it clear to the Iranians it's on the table. The Israelis made that clear during the trip, but Biden fell back to the billion-dollar giveaway here. And only if Iran believes that program could get taken out do I think at this point, as they race towards a nuke, which will set off an arms race in the Middle East, a nuclear arms race in the Middle East, will Iran back down? And the biggest way that we could do that is say it, make it clear on the international stage from the commander-in-chief, and give the Israelis the technical military equipment that they've been asking for and this administration's been holding back on.
Well, I don't know whose idea the fist bump was, but it's getting panned across the country. The president found it amusing when asked about it. Listen to this on Friday. Watch.
Mr. President?
Yes.
You're coming under a lot of fire for your fist bump with the Crown Prince. Why? I just wanted to give you a chance to respond to that. But also, how can you be sure that another incident, another murder like Jamal Khashoggi's won't happen again?
Well, God love you. What a silly question. How could I possibly be sure of any of that? I just made it clear, if anything occurs like that again, they'll get that response and much more.
What do you think, Congressman?
Look, this is an 80-year relationship with the Saudis. It's not perfect. They are not perfect by any means. But we have to maintain that relationship. As you said in your lead-in, the Russians and Chinese are absolutely happy to fill the void. What I thought was kind of pathetic was that the president left with no announcement on oil. They basically said, well, thank you very much for your visit, and we'll think about it, and we'll talk to OPEC about it. I mean, the president would have done a lot better to visit Texas, visit Oklahoma. Let's talk about domestic production. And if he has to go abroad, he refuses to stand up the progressives and do that here. How about you go places like our friends, the Kurds, that are absolutely wanting to produce more oil in line with U.S. interests. But again, very mixed review on all of it.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on China, because it feels like this administration continues this soft-on policy for China. I mean, look at the China policy that we have listed, all of the things that we've seen in this first year and a half. We know that there are many reports that the family has taken tens of millions of dollars from Chinese officials who are tied to the Communist Party. I mean, and this is China's way of doing things. Give gifts, lend money, and then overall, take over. He has failed to demand any real investigation into the origins of COVID. He's spoken to Xi Jinping at least 5 times, and as far as I know, he's not brought up the subject, although he said he brought it up. We don't have any evidence of that. He has failed to confront China on fentanyl. The fentanyl is made in China, and it's pushed through Mexico. He is sending China oil from America's strategic reserves. And now he's considering lifting the tariffs on Chinese imports. If we could show that graphic again, Christopher, please put that up, because it is a long list of soft on China policy that we continue to see. Your thoughts on what's going on here?
And at the same time, Maria, the Chinese are buying up America. They are buying up huge tracts of land, which, oh, by the way, happen to be key farming tracts, but also near our military bases. They're buying up our food supply, chicken, pork, other producers, and they're buying up our technology. If they can't steal it, then they come in and they buy it. And what are they doing with all of it? They're creating dependencies on them, and they're handing the technology over to their military as they have the most rapid military buildup in modern history. And look, at the end of the day, the Democrats want to talk about defund police. I've been saying let's defund dictatorships. Let's defund the Chinese Communist Party. But we have Wall Street, our politicians, academia, the sports industry, Hollywood, you name it, that are absolutely drunk on Chinese dollars. The Chinese communists know it. Xi knows it, and they are looking to win the economic war way before there's any type of military conflict. And we've got to wake up as a country, and this administration is totally asleep at the switch.
Right. Well, the leadership begins at the top, and the administration apparently is okay with unwitting investors investing in Chinese companies tied to the Chinese Communist Party that may very well end up turning around and fighting America. Tom Cotton has a problem with this ESG agenda. And he says that he wants to investigate ESG practices from groups like BlackRock, which he says have created a climate cartel to suppress investment in the fossil fuel industry in America, and that's contributing to $5 a gallon gasoline. Your thoughts on the investments of American families and this federal thrift fund having a wide open window? This is the 401k for government employees, past and present, and they're able to invest in Chinese companies that may very well get hostile on America. We are funding their expansion.
We absolutely are, but how sad and ironic to have our military members' retirement plan start to be invested into Beijing that lists all of their defense companies. That money is going right to the future Chinese stealth fighters, tanks and planes that'll be shooting at our men and women. And we had an amendment to stop that, to ban it. And the Democrats came back and said, well, we'll support you in banning funds going into Chinese firms if you agree to allow these ESG and environmental bans as well. The irony there, Maria, is that that's going to also flow to China because they've cornered the market on solar panels. So it's shutting down American energy independence, flowing through this green obsession over into China. And I could show you satellite images that are available on the market of Chinese solar plants being powered by coal-fired plants right next door. This isn't about the environment for China. It's about creating dependencies and making America dependent. And the left is playing right into their hands.
Yeah, and by the way, you said it at the top of the interview, China's influence campaign in the U.S. A Chinese company recently purchased farmland in North Dakota, just 12 miles from a U.S. Air Force base with sophisticated military drone technology. Congressman, we're watching all of this. We so appreciate your insight. Thank you, sir.